Welcome back, friends. Today we continue on our journey of creating these simple studies using nothing but 3 colors: Payne's gray, an opaque color, and a transparent color. You can find the colors and the materials that I've used in the video description below, but you can also just grab whatever colors you have. Make sure you have an opaque and a transparent, and just explore what happens with those colors. Now let's get started. All right, let's do another one of these little exercises. Today I decided that I wanted to go a little bit more colorful. So I still have my Payne's gray. This is Liquitex bright aqua green and transparent burnt sienna. And as always, there's a list in the video description for everything that I've used today. And I have a big old pile of matte medium. And yes, matte medium is required to paint this way, or something similar to matte medium anyway. So let's just jump right in today. I am again using my number 8 Filbert, and I'm gonna start with my aqua, just a little bit of medium. I really want you to try and pick colors that you think would not look good together. Remember, you want one that's opaque, one that's transparent, and then either Payne's gray or black if you're working on a black canvas like I am. So a little bit of this color. And I'm just gonna find a shape. Hold your brush loosely, kind of far back, and just start scribbling. This is gonna be my sky color. Let's get a bit more. You don't want to cover the entire canvas, but you want to kind of focus on what you're leaving here because it's going to dictate the shape of the ground. Scrub that out nice and faint here at the bottom. This brush can handle the scrubbing. It was made for it. And I am going to blow dry that. Remember that you want to dry your painting completely in between every layer. So I'll use these little transitions where it fades to black real quick. And when you see that, you know that I have blow dried my canvas. Woo, that went really transparent, didn't it? This Liquitex color is a little bit more transparent than I expected it to be. So I'm gonna get more, and I'm not picking up any medium this time, just paint. Now let's just do that one more time. Maybe I won't spread it out quite as thinly either. Now I'm kind of cheating today. I told you to pick colors that I think that you normally wouldn't think would look good together, and I think the colors that I picked are probably colors that most people would think, oh, I don't think those colors look good together. But I use these, or at least similar colors together very often. I know exactly how these colors work with each other, and I love it. All right, there's like a weird triangle in there. I'm just trying to break that up. All right, I'm gonna move to my number 4 Filbert. I just wet it a little bit, and then I'm gonna wipe it on my towel. I don't want it terribly wet, but just barely damp. Now let's start adding some foliage, maybe some bushes, maybe a couple scraggy trees. I just got a little bit of medium and my Payne's gray. And I'm going to use the side of the brush and just kind of start scribbling. Remember that all of this is going to be covered. You don't have to get anything perfect or even looking good at this point. We're playing with shape and texture, really. That's about all we're doing right here. None of this is set in stone or permanent in any way. And I liked what we did in the last one where I kind of pushed up into it. Let's try that again. All right, let's just see how that looks. Back to my number 8, some medium, and well, maybe not that much. That blue is pretty transparent, and some of my aqua. Something really cool happens when you layer like this. With the glazing, you get colors that you can't really get through mixing. So what's going to happen here, I'm scrubbing this over top of the tree I just painted. And when I come back and I paint the glaze of the transparent color over everything, it's going to give the tree a different color. The tree isn't going to look, like Payne's gray. It's going to look misty. It's going to look distant. It's going to have an interesting kind of greenish, otherworldly color to it. And you can't really get those colors without some seriously complex color mixing. So I'll show you what I mean. Let's just beef up the teal in the sky just a little bit more here. I'm using my brush flat because that lays the paint down much thicker than it does on the side. On the side, I get this nice smoky scrub, but laying it flat and using very light pressure just lays the paint down a little bit smoother and thicker. Very light pressure gets rid of any of those brush marks. All right. I think this is looking really good already. I'm really happy with the mood that I'm already developing here. I try to keep these paintings pretty quick, roughly 30 minutes or so. These aren't completed paintings. They're just studies, working out ideas and compositions. And I need to remember to mute my phone before I start recording. There we go. Let's see what happens when we glaze this with that burnt sienna. All right, I'm gonna stick with my number 8, get a bit of medium. My transparent burnt sienna is already transparent, so I don't need a ton of medium, but I do want to start with my glaze just a little on the light side. So notice that I got my medium first, and then I go to my paint. Rather than loading up with paint and then getting a medium, your paint can end up too dark that way. Starting at the bottom. Ooh, yeah, love these colors together. I'm not afraid of going too high. I'm not done with the color in the sky yet. Let's just wipe out some of that. Maybe we'll even just put a heavier concentration of that color in a few spots. A little medium to break that up. All right, let's dry that and see how it looks. Make sure that you're standing back. Walk away from it after every layer or two and kind of see what's happening. Maybe you'll see that you've got a weird line that you didn't notice when you're standing up close. And you can either incorporate that into the painting or get rid of it in the next layer. You might also see areas in the painting that are kind of suggesting something for your composition that you might want to pull out. And so I'm kind of seeing that. But let's do some Payne's gray before I move back into the blue of the sky. So my medium and my Payne's gray. Oh, this is my number 4. We'll start down here. That almost looks like a distant pine tree, doesn't it? Maybe we'll bring that out and say that it is. Just kind of up on this hillside. It's looking a little ragged and ratty. I'm going to go back to my ratty number 2. I really liked what we did with this brush last time. I didn't get any medium, just my Payne's gray. And I'm going to make some trees, remember, by going up, laying it flat, and then pushing up, which seems kind of counterintuitive to how you'd want to use a brush like this. Kind of just twisting it a little back and forth as I go. Really, really organic, strange shapes. If you want a tree that's more, you know, young looking and not quite so moody, then definitely use your brush however you need to get that. This is a good way to get some nice ratty trees. I just got a little bit of water. I do want to draw some branches on here. I'm letting my brush kind of jump and dot and not all your branches have to connect. They can all just be wild and crazy and, you know, very free. That's what I like. Maybe let's get a few little just some old little dried leaves on the ends there. Maybe there's some foliage up here too that's kind of hanging down, covering our view of the sky a bit. Went to my number 10 round brush. I see an opportunity for a seriously glazed out tree. I could have put it in before, but I didn't, so now I'm going to put it in now. So I loaded up with medium and a little bit of paint. So this Payne's gray is going to be very, very transparent. Can you see that? And we'll just go I want to blur out those lines, though I don't want hard edges on that tree. If it's very distant, it's going to be very soft as well. There we go. We'll just get a few shapes in there like that. So that first tree is almost gone, and that's fine because I didn't really like it. soft. All right, bit of medium, back to my number 8, and some teal. I am using the medium this time because I don't want to completely cover everything that I've done. Just want to give it that smoky feel. When you glaze with an opaque color, it helps give a foggy, smoky feel. And I'm going to be a little more selective with it. I may not put it over top of everything. I might. We'll see. Not so much over here. I like the idea that this is going to be a little darker. But I do need to get some down in here. I like to have a little highlighted foreground path area. I feel like it helps kind of draw you in. Just very faint. Push that good and back. Get a little bit more of that bright color maybe right in here. Just using the solid green, and a very light touch. I love to do these paintings because I feel like there's no pressure. You know, it doesn't have to turn out good. And when you struggle with imposter syndrome, like I do, it's nice to have something that's very low pressure. When I'm painting for myself, I don't really feel that pressure, you know, because I know if I mess up, I can start over or, you know, whatever. Nobody has to see it. I'm the only one who sees anything that I paint that I don't like. But when I'm trying to paint for a video, there's always this amount of pressure, like, you know, that it has to be good. And, you know, the people who don't like dark stuff aren't going to like this. Or, you know, it's so different from paintings I used to do. People aren't going to like that. And so I struggle with those kinds of things quite a bit. It's one of the reasons that I didn't make videos for a long time. But I'm trying now to remember that I am a capable artist, as are you, and I hope you remember that. And just, you know, do what makes me happy and hope that it connects with somebody, which is what I want for you. Just do what makes you happy, and it'll connect with somebody. I was washing off my brush to move on to a next layer, but because I paint like this a lot, I can think a few steps ahead. And right now, I like how dark this is. That's ultimately what I want. But I know I'm not done. I'm going to add more of the Payne's gray. I'm going to add more of the orange. This is going to keep getting darker and darker. I'm going to lose any of this definition. So to make sure that I don't, I need to glaze it with a thin version of this. And so this is going to look odd and weird, but stick with me because it's going to help me get exactly what I want. So it's just going to look really chalky and dusty for a minute. Same with this. I can always bring those shadows back. The shadows are really, really easy to get back. So I'm not worried about losing them. All right, that's good. Let's give it a glaze with our burnt sienna. You've heard me refer to in previous videos a color that I just call PR101. That's what this is. That's the pigment code of the color. And I may still accidentally call it PR101 sometimes. The reason I call it that instead of burnt sienna is technically, this isn't burnt sienna, even though the one I'm using is just called burnt sienna. I'm using the Utrecht brand. But if you get transparent burnt sienna in any other line, it's going to be the PR101 pigment code. Let's get that orange right up in here. I'm going to try and keep the purest teal special. Not too bad. All right, I just made a snap decision. I have this old tube of turquoise deep, and I think I want to try it just a little bit up here in the top. It's also transparent, so it will be a little bit of a glaze, just like the orange. I'm not going to put out much. So some medium. I know that because this is a phthalo, it's very strong, so I need a lot of medium and just a little bit of paint. Let's see what happens there. Just kind of deepen that teal a little bit. Push our eyes downward toward the pure teal. Just helps give it a bit of a vignette feel. Maybe down here too, actually. Just in the corners. Let's go back into just the Payne's Gray with my number 4. We need to rebuild our ground because we did lose it through a little bit of the glazing, and that's okay because, like I said, it's so easy to bring back. Maybe we'll... Let's see, maybe we'll just do some bushes and just keep these trees kind of pushed into the distance. Nice and dark and solid right here. Everything feels so ethereal and kind of transparent. So anything we have that's nice and solid is going to appear closest to us. So if I make this nice and solid, then we'll have some deep dark shadows for some bushes that feel very close. Kind of anchors us to the spot a bit. And I have to do it. You can totally skip this if you want. Plop down a bit of paint there. Picked up a drip of paint from my water. And it runs just a little bit, which is perfect. And I'm gonna get some. I love sprays. I feel like they make everything feel just a little bit more, I don't know, messy, magical, something. Get some of that paint off of my fingers there. In fact, yeah. Remember that if you're concerned about getting paint on your hands, you can use gloves if you want, or you can use a shielding lotion like this one. This is not an ad. They do not pay me. I bought this on my own, but I use this a lot and I really like it. And I get asked, how do I keep my hands protected when I stick my hands in paint all the time? So something like this is gonna be a really good bet for that. All right, I'm gonna go down to my number 8 Filbert, and I wet it in the jar and wiped it on the paper towel. I am going to get pretty much straight teal right now, maybe just a little bit of medium, mostly just to kind of smooth the paint out, not to make it transparent. Let's decide where we want that real pure color to go and just lay it down very smoothly. Doesn't matter if it doesn't cover everything below it. Let's just kind of pull that up here a bit too. Kind of ignoring the tree branches. If this is a really bright light shining through, then any tree branches that are in front of it might be obscured anyway. You wouldn't really see more than just kind of a shadow of it. A little bit of medium in here as I move down. I want to get more of this color here, but I don't want it to be quite so opaque the farther down I go. Just because I don't, not because of any magical knowledge that I'm just failing to share with you. It's just a decision I made. So please remember, if you try these paintings, if you try these techniques, don't compare what you've done to mine. Don't show me your painting and say, it doesn't look like yours. It better not look like mine. I didn't paint it, you did. It better look like yours. Everybody's going to interpret these techniques differently. Ooh, a little negative painting. Throw in a slice of color there and it reinforces that there's a tree there. We can even make some more. Let's say that there's a break there where there's a couple trees in the distance as well. I love negative painting. Negative painting is not negative attitude painting. Some of you smarty pants who are like, oh, I negative paint every day. That's not what negative painting is. Negative painting is painting in the spaces around the object. So I'm painting a tree here, not by painting the tree, but by painting the space around the tree. You can even do that here and reinforce that one a little bit. I like that. Just keep a nice transparent version of the color. And I can do that all throughout here. Just reinforce these trees. Let's get just a little bit more of a bright color because I really liked these little shiny bits on the ground. Kind of come in from the distance, the light reflecting on the ground. Maybe there's a little bit of water. Maybe it's just reflecting off of rocks. Let's even do some little grasses. Wipe a lot of that paint off because I don't want big blobular things. Using the side of my brush and a very light touch. If I get too many, I can paint them out. All right. And a little bit of paint, a little bit of water, maybe a little bit more than that. There we go. Just a nice light spray here at the bottom. Some little glowy flower bits or something. Yeah. I feel like I do want a nice big tall tree right in the front. It's my number 10 round. And maybe we'll put him over here. Let's see. Let's scoot this way. There. See the difference in the brush stroke when I go up versus down? I don't like this clean edge. I like this choppy, rough edge much better. I don't like this. Just a damp brush and it's gone. No big deal. Fill this in just a little bit. Doesn't need to be fully filled in. And my long liner, a little extra water. I'm really struggling with these little branches today. I think I'm trying too hard. There we go. We'll just scrub at them. A little extra water really helps get some nice, fine little details. Yeah. There's a tree that grows near my home. It's this big, huge, old, gnarly tree, and it's got all these little bits that grow off of it and down and get these little leaves. That's kind of what I'm looking at here. That's kind of what I'm going for. I like that a lot. Yeah. Really want to grunge up the edges. Keep a little extra water on your liner brush. Just making some little dots for leaves on these old gnarly branches. Much better. Let's get some little gnarly things that are growing up from the ground here. Oh, I'm really liking this one. I was thinking, oh, this one's not going to turn out as good as the other one. So that little imposter voice was piping up and saying, you've only got one in you. You can't do any more than that. And look at me. I shoved it aside and said, leave me alone. Now I'm making a painting that I'm actually really excited about. I think I'm going to want to work this one up into a full-size painting. So be on the lookout for that. This is just I don't like that. This is just a study, just kind of a mock-up. Not my actual painting. Kind of hide the path a little bit right there. I like that. Block it off here. There we go. I'm not going to dry it because I'm not going to glaze or anything. I don't feel like I need to highlight this tree because it's so transparent. The colors are kind of glowing through it. But I'm going to stick with my long liner. I'm just going to get a bit of this aqua color. And just some little highlights down in here. Maybe there was rocks or something. And our little plants, the little flowers that we made. Just a hint more of that color in the sky here, coming down. Just picked up some medium. And I'm really happy with that, so I'm going to call this one done.